Welcome back to more Let's Play Mega Man Xtreme, the second half of the game. It is, in fact, a continuation of Mega Man Xtreme and not just restarting from the beginning, because we have our full armor, we have all of these special weapons from the first half of the game, we even have the Hadouken and the Shoryuken, the Shotokan moves, but somehow we are back here again in the highway. We seem to be back in this same simulation again. We don't really know why just yet, although that will become clear in a little bit. The story of Mega Man Xtreme is good. I don't much care for the pacing. I wish that the Extreme mode that you unlock for defeating Hard mode, which we'll discuss when we actually get to the extras video and, you know, discuss Extreme mode a little bit. I really wish that Extreme mode had story stuff and just combined the plots into one coherent, longer plot, instead of having to divide it up divide it up like this into two halves. That the MIDI, a non-canonical, somehow still alive version of MIDI, has to explain to you. I like the idea, but I wish that the final reward was a sort of comprehensive final version of the game that includes all the cutscenes and, you know, reworked dialogue or something. But because we have our first armor, because we have everything here, we can get through the stage even easier than before. Here I'm showing off that the Buzz Blader can land on top of X. That giant Demon Canaloid can land on top of X, and unlike in the original X1 or in Maverick Hunter X, it doesn't actually kill you. If it lands on top of you, it doesn't actually crush you because it's not actually doesn't actually have a collision. So that's a little difference. Here, I am taking the time to do something that I can't really do anywhere else, because due to the fact that Extreme Hard Mode features 4 brand new stages that were not in the Extreme Normal Mode, Chill Penguin stage is not there, and these Jamminger enemies don't appear in any other stage aside from the intro in Hard Mode. Therefore, I am taking advantage of the intro stage to fill up my 2 sub-tanks that I have right now. Hard Mode is not that much harder than Normal Mode. It's really when we get to the rematch with Velgader Sigma that you're really going to want multiple sub-tanks built up and ready to go, which is what I'm doing this for. I'm actually doing this sub-tank grind for the final stage of the game, just to make sure that that I have at least 2 full up and ready to go, because this game, Hard Mode of Mega Man Xtreme, does not have a great place to grind for sub-tanks, as opposed to Normal Mode, the Chill Penguin stage, which is going to be pretty crazy. Here's Vava again, because again, they didn't translate that into Vile as it was supposed to for the American version, so whoopsies. Again, translation not a great thing in this game. Vile fights exactly the same as he did in normal mode, so it's a very, very easy boss. Only has half a health bar. It should be very, very quick to take him out, especially if you have like body armor and all that stuff from normal mode. He is not weak to any special weapon. It's just the X-Buster and the Hadouken and the Shoryuken that do massive damage to him. But everything else, you can use the Chill Penguin weapon, the Spark Mandrill weapon, the Flame Stag weapon, and the Storm Eagle weapon, and it won't do much to him at all. So don't bother with special weapons, just use your X-Buster and the Hadoukens and the Shoryukens, and that will be enough to take Vile down again. For the last time. At least until X3. But for the last time, this iteration of Vile. That is the last encounter we have with him. Here's a cutscene. So again, I like the idea of the story for Mega Man Extreme and the justification for hard mode being the second half of the game. But overall, by the way, here are our four new Mavericks. Here we have Wheel Gator from X2, Magna Centipede from X2, Armored Armadillo from X1, and Morph Moth from X2. Same options, same save stuff. Let me talk a little bit about the story and the execution of this. Despite this game coming out about half a decade later compared to the original Rockman World or Mega Man for Game Boy series, I think that those games execute the batches of 4 bosses better than Xtreme 1 does. Because they actually incorporate it into the story a little bit more smoothly, as opposed to this, where you have to literally restart the game and do the whole intro stage all over again before you get access to the second batch of 4 bosses. And, you know, once we get to the Final Fortress, it's going to be the exact same Final Fortress again, instead of what the Mega Man for Game Boy games did, which, you know, was create original levels and original layouts and, you know, kind of have a narrative flow from the fact that you fought 4, and then you had sort of a mid-stage, and then, you know, you fought 4 more, and then you got to the ending. These spikes from the Armored Armadillo drill enemy here do kill you. You don't have to kill that one fast, but, you know, in order to get the sub-tank, but you can kill that drill enemy quickly to get access to this health here, just like you can in the original Armored Armadillo experience. Oh boy. And that is a name that I'm always going to have trouble saying. Armored Armadillo, Armored Armadillo, Armored Armadillo. Well, I guess I did okay there, but, you know. Ugh. Moving on, though. Despite my gripes with the execution of how we get to the second batch of 4 Mavericks, which is just by, you know, non-canonically explaining that there is a hard mode, and then, you know, going through the intro stage again, and then finally getting the explanation that the mother computer is in danger again. Despite the clunkiness of how we get here, I do like the setup that we have. 4 Mavericks, a Final Fortress, 4 more Mavericks, and then a Final Fortress again. I wish the second Final Fortress was different, but, you know, for what this game is, it's pretty good overall. The execution to get here is a little bit clunky, but it's pretty good overall. You want to destroy that second Armored Armadillo drill enemy very, very quickly in order to ensure that you can actually get access to this hard tank. I'll be showing later what happens if you don't destroy those in time, and how it's impossible to get to the hard tank and the health from earlier if you don't. The baton enemy from the original Mega Man X and Maverick Hunter X that would give you lives very, very easily is not here anymore in the Game Boy Color Extreme version of Armored Armadillo stage. So don't even bother with that trick anymore. That's not a thing in this version of the game. Here at the very end, you may recall that up above we have a secret Dr. Light capsule that would normally give us our Hadouken in the original, or the Fireball in Maverick Hunter X. Here, it is going to give us the first of our Zero Scramble moves. In this case, the Zero Scramble Dash. In hard mode, if you have already gotten all of the armor pieces in the normal mode, in normal mode of Mega Man Extreme, then instead of Dr. Light giving you armor pieces again, he will give you special moves that you can use in tandem with Zero. In this case, the Zero Scramble moves, 4 of them in fact. The way they work, you have to pause the game, you have to go to the special Zero menu that unlocks after you get your first Zero Scramble move, use it, and Zero will pop out to do a move. There are 4 moves in total. There's the Dash, the Rising, which is sort of an uppercut, which is sort of an uppercut slash, Earth Geyser, which is his ground pound move where he smashes into the ground and creates a bunch of fireballs and, you know, massive damage for the entire screen. And then Final, which is a combination of the dash and the uppercut that he does. Moving on, though, we have Armored Armadillo. Armored Armadillo fights basically exactly as he did in the original Mega Man X, not in Maverick Hunter X, but in the original Mega Man X. He basically replicates his strategy here almost exactly. He didn't get to bust through the ceiling as he did in the original, because again, scaled down version of the original Mega Man X. It is also very, very difficult to actually hit him with the with the X-Buster. It's not impossible, and in fact, if you were to play hard mode fresh, which we'll get into after we beat Armored Armadillo, it is still recommended to go after him first, because he is the easiest of the four to deal with, although it does take a very long time to actually defeat him, as a result of the fact that you don't have his actual weakness, which is Spark Mandrill. Spark Mandrill, just like in the original Mega Man X, gets rid of his armor and lets him be vulnerable the entire time. Here I'm showing off the using the Zero Scramble on him. He doesn't do that much damage. Zero Scramble as a concept, and you know, now the Armored Armadillo fight, it's basically the same as it was before. Zero Scramble as a concept is a strong concept, having X and Zero work together to do special moves, or having Zero come down to help X out with by doing a special powerful move on an enemy. But in execution, it's kind of weak because you have to keep pausing in order to get Zero to actually pop out and do something. He has a special weapon energy bar, similar to any other special weapon that X has, but unlike the special weapons that X has, you can't recharge the Zero Scramble weapon energy meter. Whatever you use is used, and you can't get it back until you start a stage. Until you start a new stage afterwards. That all said, we have beaten Armored Armadillo, so let's move on and get another cutscene. Here we go. So here we see now that this is just a basic revenge plot by Gimel, based on what happened in the normal mode playthrough of Mega Man Xtreme. He just wants some basic revenge. We'll see how Sigma fits into all this later, if at all. Here I'm showing off the very interesting thing about hard mode. Midi talked about how you can carry over your armor and your special weapons and your heart tanks and all that good stuff if you select a completed normal mode save file. You're able to start hard mode with all the good stuff that you carry over from normal mode. If you select hard mode from the main menu, you start this half of the game, the hard mode portion of the game, where it's a Gimel revenge plot, and you have Armored Armadillo and Morph Moth and Wheelgator and this whole second half of the game. But you started from scratch with nothing. Here I'm showing off what happens if you allow the drill enemies to go forth. You can't get access to the health or the heart tank. And I'm also showing off, and also I'm also showing off an interesting thing where the Dr. Light capsules, if you don't already have the armor upgrades in hard mode, a fresh version of hard mode, then Dr. Light will not give you any Zero Scramble moves. He will instead just give you the armor parts that you got from normal mode. In this case, the head part. I'm going to be showing off what all the Dr. Light capsules will give you if you were playing this game, the normal way, the probably normal way, which is you choose your completed normal mode save file and just start hard mode with all that good stuff you carry over from normal mode, and what you would get from Dr. Light if you play hard mode fresh by just selecting hard mode from the main menu, which is a very different experience. You don't have, you don't get to start off with extra health. You don't start off with 2 sub tanks. Hard mode, selecting it from the main menu and starting hard mode fresh is actually hard mode. That's like the actual difficult experience for that's like the actual difficult experience you may want to crave if you're like a Mega Man X masochist and want to play the most difficult version of any Mega Man game that are out there. If you want the most difficult version of Mega Man Xtreme, then you want to play Mega Man Xtreme hard mode from the main menu and not by selecting a completed normal mode save. That all said, all that rambling out of the way now, we can move on and talk a little bit more about what we're actually doing here now, which is going after Morph Moth. I think of the 4 stages that we have here, Morph Moth is the one that has the most potential for sub-tank grinding. I mentioned in the intro stage that I took the time to grind for sub-tank health there because there isn't really any good places anywhere else to grind for sub-tank health in the hard mode portion of Mega Man Xtreme. And that's basically true, but if you want, if you're looking for a spot, like if you're desperate for a spot to grind for some sub-tank health, so you can be ready for certain bosses that come up in the fortress or whatever, then a Morph Moth is probably your best bet. Towards the end of the stage, we have a section where we fight a whole bunch of little grabber enemies, little grabber enemies that can take control of X, the non-flying versions of the thing that I just killed right there, and those have the best chance of giving you health. We'll see in just a bit when we actually get to that portion of the stage. Despite this being a Mega Man X2 level, they did take care to remove the X Hunter boss door from Morph Moth stage and from Magna Centipede stage as well. The only X Hunter boss door that exists in this portion of the game is the one in Wheel Gator's stage, because that is the only stage that will give you a chance to encounter Gimel and fight him just like you did Zane in normal mode. This section after this autosave point is probably the best section in order to grind for sub-tank health. These green enemies right here have the best chance of dropping actual health pellets for you to fill up on. They can grab you just like they could in X2, and they can take control of you, but unlike in X2 where they can take control and, have force X to do a variety of different things, jump a lot or shoot a lot or yeah. Here in Xtreme, the only thing they can do is just force X to hop a lot. They can't force him to shoot a lot. They can't force him to not charge or anything like that. But they can force him to just hop a lot if they take control of him. And that's about it. These green enemies have the best chance of dropping health pellets of any in any of the regular stages, but it's not that high of a chance. It's not compared to the Jammingers that respawn so easily and are so easily killed. These enemies are pretty good at dropping health, but they're not the best. But if you were looking for a spot, any spot to grind for sub-tank health, it's probably that hallway area. The old armor from X2 is just as easy here as it was in original X2. Old armor goes down pretty quickly. It is very weak to Storm Tornado. It's also very weak to Morph Moth, which will show up after we beat Morph Moth. The little actual bug that was controlling the old armor can be taken down very, very quickly with Storm Tornado or with Speed Burner or with Morph Moth's Silk Shot, which we'll be seeing later as well. These giant enemies that we see at the end of a lot of stages in Mega Man X2, or a few stages in Mega Man X2, they can be brought down instantly with a charged up Electric Spark attack, so that's nice. Moving forward, though, we now have a scaled-down version of the Morph Moth fight, and this is probably the most scaled-down version of a boss fight of any of the boss fights that we have in this game. The only thing that this the Cocoon version of Morph Moth does is just dash along the ground and does that little absorbing junk spin attack. It is weak to both Armored Armadillo and also weak to the Speed Burner, Flamestag's weapon. Unlike the Cocoon in original Mega Man X2, the Cocoon in Mega Man Xtreme is never going to grow on its own by absorbing junk, and it's never going to be able to hatch into Morph Moth on its own. You have to damage it enough in order to force the hatching process to occur and force the fully evolved Morph Moth down for a fight. Unlike in the original version of the fight in X2, this fight does not include verticality to it. This is what I was talking about when we were fighting Flamestag 2 episodes ago. It's unfortunate that the verticality is missing from the Morph Moth fights, because it would have been nice to have here. Morph Moth himself is a lot more annoying once he's actually fully hatched. Because of the crunched-in arena and the fact that there's no verticality to the fight, it's very difficult to not get hit by him, so I would recommend you use Rolling Shield to become immune to damage, at least for a little bit, and control the pace of the fight a little bit more. Here I'm showing off the Silk Shot. First off, the regular version and the charged version. Nothing much to it. They work just as they did in X2. Unlike in original X2, where you can use Silk Shot in special rooms to drag in, lots of health or lots of weapon energy in certain special areas, you can't do that in this game. So some of that special bonus use for this weapon is lost, but you can still use it to very, very quickly kill Old Armor and the bug that was controlling it in like 2 seconds. Interestingly, Old Armor is completely immune to Shotgun Ice. I don't know why. There is no equivalent to it in Mega Man X2, so I guess they just, you know, decided to make it immune to Shotgun Ice for whatever reason. I'm also showing off that Old Armor has one other attack that he can do in both in X2 and this one, where he can just like throw a projectile at you. You can actually destroy that projectile with your X-Buster if you're quick enough on the draw to shoot at that rock, that piece of junk that it throws at you. Moving on, however, we have our third of our 4th Mavericks here, which is going to be Magna Centipede, back in the computer stage. That super important computer central base. That central computer base from Mega Man X2. It's a different place from the mother computer that Maverick Hunter HQ hosts. But it's a nice recreation of that stage nonetheless. We have the spotlights, we have the little turrets that can fall, and the bridges that can also fall apart if you get caught. Make sure you avoid the third ground-based searchlight here, which is this one right there. Make sure to avoid that if you want to get access to the hard tank that's up here. Because everything is so crunched together in the Game Boy Color version of this game, you don't actually need to use the Buster upgrade and the Speed Burner in order to get up in order to get up to that wall, but you can if you want to. But also you can just jump and just barely make it, because everything is so crunched together in the in the Game Boy screen that that it's just really easy to make certain jumps that you wouldn't have been able to before. In this case, I'm using the Buster upgrade and the Flame Stack to get up here to get this sub-tank, but we can also just make that jump normally, and you'll see right now. Here I have a version of X from my hard mode fresh, where I don't have the Buster upgrade or the Flame Stack weapon, because it's the hard mode fresh, so I don't get to keep my special weapons from the first half of the game. But you can still get up there and still get that sub-tank, because it's just... everything is so crunched together in the Game Boy version of these stages that, you know, those kinds of jumps are in fact possible. Our first of 2 sub-bosses in Magna Centipede. It's not the Maverick Virus 3D graphics sword, because this is a Game Boy Color game, so we wouldn't be able to properly recreate that. Instead, we have the first of 2 radar killers. This is the basic green version that only has 2 attacks, where it shoots and it jumps and fires some lasers, and that's about it. This section, it doesn't matter if you get caught by the searchlights. It doesn't really affect anything. This section always happens the same no matter what. Instead of the ground being built up by these platforms that fall, it's just, you know, these little crystal bluish platforms that fall to hurt X. We still have the radar from the original X2 version of this section of the stage, and it does the exact same thing that it did in the original X2 version of this the original X2 version of this section of the stage, which we'll see in a second what that does. But you can come up here for a Dr. Light capsule, which was not up here originally because Magna Centipede did not feature a Dr. Light capsule. But again, this game has to operate under the assumption that you're potentially playing hard mode fresh without your normal mode save file, so we have to make sure there's a Dr. Light capsule in every single level to ensure that you can have your full armor by the time you go to the Mother Computer Core to fight the Shadow Hunters and Sigma. So we want to make sure that you have access to the helmet, the body, the arm, and the leg upgrades in some way, shape, or form. So here is, in fact, another light capsule. We get the Zero Scramble move. I believe this is Zero Scramble Rising, or Final. This is Zero Scramble Final. Zero Scramble Final. Because they kind of expect you to go to the stage last, I guess. I don't know. But Zero Scramble Final is powerful. It's fine. There's no X-Hunter stage. There's no X-Hunter boss door here. If you find this capsule in your hard mode fresh, you get the leg upgrade here. So this is where you get the ability to do the dash jumps off of walls and destroy certain blocks with your powerful legs. Although in hard mode, that's like not even a thing you have to worry about, because there's no hidden upgrade there's no upgrade hidden behind blocks that are lined up in such a way where you have to use your your leg upgrade feature to get at them. But you do have to use the dash jump for some other stuff. Here we have our second radar killer. It's a purple one because I allowed the scanner to scan me up 3 times. It's actually quite difficult for the scanner to not scan you at all in the extreme version of the stage because everything is so crunched together and that scanner moves so fast and you don't move so fast because of dead inputs or, you know, just because of the compressed nature of the Game Boy Color experience, but that, you know, that scanner moves so quickly. This version of the radar killer has more powerful blasts. It has shorter hops to try and trick you and to try to get at you better. Zero Scramble move final is so powerful that you can only ever use it once in any given stage, which is kind of a drag. It's kind of, you know, not that fantastic because it's not that powerful, but you can only ever use it the one time in any given stage due to how much of the zero weapon energy meter that it wastes. So again, Zero Scrambles are a neat idea. They weren't that well executed in Mega Man Xtreme, I don't think. It's not something that you're regularly going to be using. I'm only using them because I want to show them off for the playthrough, but for you, you're probably never going to use the Zero Scramble moves. They're not that useful in the long run. Here we have Magna Centipede. I am going to do a terrible job fighting Magna Centipede here because I want to show off the fact that just like in Mega Man X2, Magna Centipede is capable of dragging you in and corrupting you with a version of the Maverick virus that will take away some of X's control and some of X's abilities. It takes them a while to do this. This is a very, very long boss fight, unfortunately, because I just wanted to show off the fact that Magna Centipede here operates very similarly to how we did in X2. This is an example of a boss that really really captures the essence of the original Mega Man X2 boss to a T. Not every single boss in Mega Man Xtreme captures the original essence of the boss to such a perfect T. There's a lot of bosses like the Morphoth one that are scaled back, or bosses like the Chill Penguin one or the upcoming Wheel Gator one that are just worse because of the iframes that you'll see once we actually get to them. But then we have certain bosses like the Armored Armadillo fight or the Magna Centipede fight that are very, very faithful recreations of what they were originally. So it's a real, you know, it's a real seesaw roller coaster situation here, where some of these bosses are really, really faithful recreations. Some of them are, you know, less faithful, or some of them just have this weird this weird stuff that kind of gets in the way. Here I'm just showing off properly what happens when you use the Silk Shot on Magna Centipede, because I hit him with Silk Shot when he didn't have his tail, when his tail had already been removed, so it just didn't pop back in. But I wanted to show off the tail, just like in Mega Man X2, the tail properly gets removed whenever you hit him with Silk Shot the first time. Because again, Magna Centipede is a very, very faithful recreation of the original Mega Man X2 boss. They're not all as faithful a recreation, but in this case, it was a very, very well done recreation. We get the Magnet Mine, probably one of the more useless weapons in Mega Man Xtreme, except for the upcoming boss. Again, Xtreme is a scaled back version of Mega Man X, and one of the things they had to scale back is just, you know, how useful special weapons were in general. It's time to go after the last of the Mavericks, though, the last of this foursome, and the last of all of the Mavericks that are available in this game, which is a Wheel Gator. Already we noticed one thing about Wheel Gator stage is that the background is not moving. Again, Mega Man Xtreme, a scaled down version of the Mega Man X and X2 experience. It's quite a good experience, but it is in fact a scaled back, compromised version of those original two experiences. Again, I will go down and I will say these are very, very good. This is a very, very good game. I really, really enjoyed Mega Man Xtreme, but it is in fact a scaled down version of X1 and X2. You have to use the dash jump or the flame stack plus buster upgrade in order to get up to this dark light capsule. So in hard mode fresh, you absolutely have to use the leg upgrade to get up here at minimum. And in, you know, this version of hard mode, where you bring in your stuff from your normal mode playthrough, you can use the buster upgrade plus speed burner if you have that stuff. Dr. Light is giving us our third Zero Scramble move, Zero Scramble Rising, which is his uppercut attack that he sort of did as part of Zero Scramble Final. Again, not overly useful. I'm not planning on doing too much with the Zero Scramble moves. I don't even know if I fully show off the Zero Scramble Rising, or if I do, it's not going to be until like the next episode, because the Zero Scramble stuff is just it's just not that useful. Here I'm showing off the Magna Centipede weapon. It's fine, but it's, you know, a scaled down version of the Magnum Mine from X2. Here I'm showing off that in hard mode fresh, if you just select hard mode off the menu and get to this Dr. Light capsule, it is in fact the arm upgrade. So now you can charge up your Buster fully, and you can also charge up your special weapons to do special charge of things, like the Magnum Mine being a little black hole that you can fire out. The Silk Shot being a bigger Silk Shot and things like that. I think of all the stages in Mega Man Xtreme, Wheel Gators suffers the most from being scaled back and also from losing the movement that was simulated so well in Mega Man X2. Again, really, really like this game, but it is in fact a scaled down version of Mega Man X and X2. This hard tank here, we can just use the Buster upgrade plus the Speed Burner. We don't have the option of doing that that little trick where we take damage and wall jump off the spikes like we did in the original Mega Man X2, but we can still use the Speed Burner and the Buster upgrade. If you're playing this on hard mode fresh, you may be wondering what's the best way to get up there if you can't do the damage boost trick, and if you can't do the I fell down, and if you can't do the Buster upgrade plus Flame Stack, there is another way to get to that hard tank, which I don't think was intended, but we'll show it off regardless in the next episode, I believe. For now, we made it to the X-Hunter boss sword, and you know what that means. It's time for another Shadow Hunter. In this case, it is Gimel, here for vengeance, since we killed his buddy, Zane. Beat him 2 times. Gimel is... I hazard to say this first optional fight with Gimel is even easier than Zane, I think. The second fight with Gimel is more involved and it has like a whole second phase to it, but this first fight with Gimel is very easy. He throws 4 red shurikens, and then he is going to teleport to where X is, and then he's going to throw 4 red shurikens, and then he's going to teleport to where X is, and just rinse and repeat. This is a very, very simple boss. The first optional encounter with both Shadow Hunters are very, very, very easy. That took no effort at all to beat Gimel like this. He has a weakness, but similar to Zane, I'm going to save additional information on the Gimel fight for the beginning of the next episode, because we're already at 30-something minutes here, 34 minutes here just about, and this video is going to be 38 minutes already, so I'm going to save that for the next episode, as it were. Here I'm showing off the Zero Scramble Rising. It's just an uppercut, didn't even hit the enemy, because again, the Zero Scramble moves are very situational and not that great overall. I'm also going to show off the alternate path for Wheel Gator, since we're not going to have a chance to go back to the stage afterwards. I'm just going to show off the other path if you decide not to go up and fight Gimel, which, you know, you don't get anything for fighting the Shadow Hunters early. They're just optional encounters that add a little bit more to the story. But unlike the X Hunters in X2, you don't get anything for. There is no reward and no path for fighting the Shadow Hunters early, unless you just really, really want to, and want to get the full experience of the Mega Man Xtreme story. But outside of that, you don't get anything for defeating the Shadow Hunters like this. Showing off Zero Scramble again. Powerful, but again, very, very situational. Coming up towards the end of this video, it's still have a few minutes left, and the majority of that time is going to be spent on the Wheel Gator fight, because, oh boy, the Wheel Gator fight is... Somehow there's secret health hidden behind that little bit there, at the end of that path there. Oh boy, this Wheel Gator fight is somehow worse than the one in X2. I really didn't like the version of this fight in X2, but I think the version here is somehow worse. I really should just be using the Spark Mandrill charged up here to kill this thing instantly, but I didn't, because I was trying to show off the Silk Shot. It's also kind of good against it, but not compared to charged up Spark Mandrill. Charged up Spark Mandrill is amazing against these tank enemies. The Wheel Gator fight is somehow worse here than it was in the original Mega Man X2. Because similar to Chill Penguin, Wheel Gator has very, very long iframes. Not just when he takes damage, but when he's setting up various attacks. He's just invincible, inexplicably, for a lot of them. His gun mouth attack that he's doing here to start off, he's completely invincible for the entirety of that. When he's setting it up and when he's actually doing it, he's totally invincible for that whole attack. He goes underwater for long stretches of time. He's doing... This attack he's actually open for, but you can never tell when he's glowing if he's going to do the gun mouth attack or if he's going to do this his spin wheel attack. If he's doing the spin wheel attack, go for damage. You know, either use charged up Buster or Magnet Mine or Hadoukens or Shoryukens or whatever it takes. Wheel Gator gives you so few opportunities to attack him because he's invincible through so much of the fight. When he's doing the gun mouth attack, when he's underwater, when he's dashing and doing that little dash attack there, it doesn't create little spikes in the wall anymore, but he's still invincible through that whole attack. He's invincible as he dives back into the water. There is so much of this fight where Wheel Gator is just invincible that it's awful. This fight is somehow worse, or at the very least as bad as it was in X2, but for different reasons. He is just invincible through so much of this fight. When we get to the rematches in the next video, and we rematch Wheel Gator, there's going to be so much time dedicated to it because the rematch is going to take so long because Wheel Gator is just such a long, drawn-out boss fight every time. I don't like the Wheel Gator fight. And on that negative note, I am going to end the episode here. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you all next time for the finale of Let's Play Mega Man Xtreme. Bye-bye.